Back, everyone. Let's talk about chapter 3, starting with 3A's assessment prep. First thing we're going to do is some true-false questions, just about ways that people may say things that you're really going to have to think about if that statement is true or false. First question is, if I earn 50% more than you, then you must earn 33.3% less than me. Imagine that 33.3 is 33.33%. So that's a rounded answer. So if I earn 50% more than you, so let's say that you earn, let's make it easy, $100. Okay. And I earn 50% more. So that's going to be 150% of $100 is going to be $150. The question then is $100 33.33% of $150. It doesn't matter the dollar amount. I'm just using $100 because it's easy, because percent is based off of the number 100. So 100 makes this problem easy. So let's say 33.33 is going to be the same as 100 over 3. If I change that into a fraction, this is still percent. Of means to multiply. Let's make a percent mean out of 100 or times 100th. And then of means to multiply. So then what's 1/3 of 150? $33.33%, 33.33%, not of 100. Oh, how do I say this way? What does it say? Less than me. Let's just say it the same way that she said it. She said less than me. Okay. So that's going to be 3 goes into 150 50 times. So is $100 $50 less than $150? Yes. So this is a true statement. Okay. So to say 33.33% less than me means I need to subtract from my total amount what 33.33% is. Another option is I could just take 100% minus the 33.33% right away and come up with 66 2/3% and make this 200 over 3. Make that 200 over 300 of $150. This is going to be 2/3 of $150. 3 goes into there 50 times, and 2 times 50 is the $100 that I have. So to say that it's 1/3 less is to say that it's 2/3 of what I make. And that's absolutely true. If I make 50% more than you, you make 2/3 of what I make. It's 100% true. All right. Moving on to B. If my salary increases by 5% each year in 120 years, I will earn exactly twice as much as I do now. That's not true, because I'm going to actually make more than that. If I have 105% to the 20th power, that's not going to be 200%. That's going to be, what is that? Let's take a look at that. 105% to the 20th power. It's going to be more than 2. It's going to be 265.3%. It's way more than double, because I'm going to gain 5% on the 5% that I earned last year. It's going to compound like that. So that's not true. All right. If the value of my home has quadrupled since I bought it, that means the value has increased by 400%. No. If the total value is 400% of the original, and the original was this much, then the difference is only 300%, right? So it's only the percent increase has been 300% if it is now quadruple the original price is when I bought it. So that one's false. Be careful about that one. All right. Next one here. It is possible for one person's weight to be 161% less than another person's weight. That's not possible, because to be 100% less than somebody's weight is to weigh 0 pounds, which you couldn't even do that. But to be more than 100% less than somebody would be to have negative weight, and there is no such thing as negative weight. So -4, or I'm sorry, 4 is false. It is possible for one person to weigh 400% more than another person's weight. That's absolutely true. You could have someone be 400% more than somebody else. They have 5 times somebody else's weight. If you have a little kid who's only 20 pounds, and then their older sibling is 100 pounds, they weigh 400% more. So that's absolutely true. If you score 60% on the midterm math exam and 70% on the final, your overall score will be greater than 65%. Assume that the final counts for 60% of the grade. So 70, you score 70% on something that counts for 60% of your grade, and your midterm counts for 40% of your grade, and you score a 60 on it. We're going to do a weighted average here, and we're going to say that this is 42 points in the end, and this is 24 points in the end, and that makes your average a 66. And these are percentage points, so that's a 66%. And it says that your overall score will be greater than a 65 percent, so that's true. 66 is greater than 65. You guys should know how to calculate weighted grades. by now, according to the syllabus. If you don't know how to do that, this is a really good class to learn how to do that in. Given Sue's weight increased from 120 pounds to 132 pounds, this is Sue, and Mark weight increased from 150 pounds to 165 pounds. Can we say that in absolute terms, Mark's weight increased more? Well, he increased 15 pounds. She increased 12 pounds. So, I'm sorry. Yeah, can we say in absolute terms, Mark weight increased more, but that in relative terms, Sue weights increased more? So we can see the absolute change here. Let's find the relative change or the percent change. So let's do 132. Let's put parentheses here. 132 minus 120 divided by 120, and let's find the percent change. This is going to be 10%. And let's say 165 minus 150 divided by 150 is also exactly the same 10%. So can we say that Sue had a higher relative change? No, we can't say that. That's a false statement because they had the same relative change. They had the same percent change there. All right. Clear that one off. We're now on number 8. In Fremont in 1990, the mayor's approval rating was 80%. In 1990. Okay, and then it went to 60% in 1998. Okay. True or false? In absolute terms, his approval rating decreased by 20 percentage points, whereas in relative terms, it decreased by 25%. That's true that this is an absolute change of 20 percentage points, and I'll call them percentage points instead of percent so it doesn't confuse you. Percentage points. It's my absolute change. Let's find my percent change that I went to. Final minus initial over initial is 20 over 80 is 1/4 is 25%, and this was a drop. So that's my relative change. So yes, that absolutely makes sense. So that's true. That was number 8. Moving on to number 9. If somebody tells you that they earned that their exam score was 70, up 80% from their last exam. So then they're going to say that their last exam score was X, and that this 70 is 180% of X. And that would mean that X would have to be 70 divided by 1.8. That means they would have had to have gotten a 38.9. And you would conclude that they must be lying or bad at math because that is impossible. Nope, you just proved that it's possible. It's very possible that they could have gotten a 38.9 on their first exam and gotten a 70 on their second exam. They're not doing very well in the class if that happened, but that's absolutely possible that they could have increased their grade by 80% if they had only gotten a 38.9 or a 38 and 8/9 percent on their first exam. That would not be that they're lying or bad at math necessarily. Okay. Last question in the true false area. If 15% of students in Mr. Harris's class speak Spanish, 7% speak French, then 6% must speak either Spanish or French. False, because they have overlooked the intersection that there's going to be people that are going to be multilingual. So there's some overlap here that we're not accounting for. This whole big circle here was 9%. And this whole big circle here was 17%, but there's some of the 9% that's also in the 17%, and some of the 17% that's also in the 9%. There's this overlap here that we don't know how much of this is. So 9% minus question mark, 17% minus question mark, plus question mark, all of that is the total that's inside, and that's going to be a smaller number than 26%, unless there are no people in the class who speak both French and Spanish. That would be hard to believe because they're very commonly spoken languages and they're easier to learn one if you know the other. So all right. Go ahead on to the next problem. There's lots of these is of problems that you're going to do in the class. So 957 is blank percent of 1,745. Yes. Okay, so I know that you probably, if you took one of the MTEs, learned a formula that looked like this. I hate this formula. I'm just going to bring it back to your memory. Okay. So you look for the word is in the problem and the number that's closest to it and put it there. And you look for the word of in the problem. You put it there and you look for the percentage number and you put it over 100 and you put it on that side. Okay, I'm not going to set up the problem that way. All right, I'm going to come up with the same formula, but I'm not going to do it with these words because is means something particular to me. This is a linking verb in English, so it's my equal sign in math. Is, I'm going to double underline my verb because that's going to be my equal sign in math. This is going to be one side of the sentence. This is going to be the other side of the sentence here. And this equal sign is going to be right there. So 957 is, and then there's my percentage. So that's going to be P over 100. Of always means to multiply in math if you set the problems up this way. So I'm going to put a multiplication dot, 1,745. So I'm going to say, I'm going to multiply by 100 by adding 2 zeros. We learned how to move decimal points with scientific notation already, so that shouldn't be new. I'm going to divide by 1745. It's going to be P. I learned that units cancel that are alike in our last chapter. So 95700 divided by 1745 is going to give me 54 point, and it tells me to round to the nearest tenth of a percent. So 8 is equal to P. I'm not going to put a percent sign here. I'm just going to change this answer to say if it's P over 100 here, that this is 54.8%. Okay. Don't put the percent with P because that's already over 100. We're going to write that in the final answer there. Okay. Let's go on to the next problem here. And that is 960 employees is blank percent of 731 employees. So again, we're going to set it up the same way. 960 is P percent of 731. So I'm going to multiply by 100, divide by 731. Round to the nearest tenth. P is 13.1 roughly. So 13.1%. 960. 960 with 2 extra zeros added to it. There we go. Just hitting the 0 one of the times. So this is 960. That's going to make this 131.3. 130.3%. Okay. Watch your zeros so that you don't make a mistake like that. Next question. 3 3/10 cases is blank percent of 23 7/10 cases. So 3 3/10 is blank percent of 23.73330. If I move the decimal 2 places to the right, 23.7330 divided by 23.7 is 13. And I'm just going to skip that step where I solved P, and I'm just going to say it's 13.9%. Last one on this page, blank percent of 1810 sales is 22 sales. So P over 100 of, there's multiply, 1810 is 22. So multiply by 100, divide by 1810. $121.5%. And then next page, blank percent of 7 gross. A gross is a dozen, if you don't know what that is 0.03 gross. E over 100 of 7 is 0.03. So we're going to say P is equal to, when I multiply by 100, that's 3, divide by 7. We're going to round to the nearest tenth here. So it's going to be 0.4%. Okay, that was the first one on page 2. Now we are asked $18.33 is blank percent of $275.74. So again, this is my linking verb. Percentage gets written as P over 100. Of means to multiply. Multiply by 100. Move the decimal place 2 places to the right when I do that. Divide by that. 1833 divided by 275.75. 0.74, excuse me. This is a typo here for me. This is 74. It's going to be P equal to 6.6, because it says to the nearest tenth of a percent, so that's 6.6%. $788.06 is blank percent of $53.19. Okay, so I'm going to multiply by 100, divide by $53.19. That is a big number, but that is the percent. So, okay, blank percent of 125 cartons, yep, making sure it wasn't cartoons, cartons, is 18.9 cartons. P out of 100 of 125 is 18.9, so I'm going to multiply by 100, divide by that number. I'm going to get 1890 divided by 125 is 15.1, just rounding to the nearest tenth. Right? Blank percent of 61 clients is 682 clients. So P out of 100 of 61 is 682. So this is 68200 divided by 61 is P. And you can see that one of the most important steps in this is finding the verb. So P is, you can write it as percent if you would like to. It's probably more correct to add the 0.0 there to show that we rounded. Okay, one more in that section. 96 0.0 yards is blank percent of 7 yards. So 96.0 is P over 100 of 7 yards. It's going to be 9600 divided by 7 is P. That's a percentage, right? All right. So now we're on to the next section of problems, starting at problem number 21. They're similar problems, but it's just not gonna, it's gonna give you some extra words around it, and you're still gonna have to find the is and the of and the percent. So Brent and Helena went on a 52-mile canoe trip with their class. On the first day, they traveled 13 miles. What is the percent of the distance? So the total distance is going to be 52 miles. And the first day is 13 miles. And they say what percent of the total distance is the distance they traveled on the first day. So we're going to multiply by 100 and divide by the number over here, and that's 1300 divided by 52 is 25%. Thompson's Hardware spent $40,570 this year on business insurance alone. Okay. Nope, sorry, I skipped a problem. I skipped a couple of problems. Students at East Central High School earned $286 selling subscriptions. They want to make a total of $3,120. What percent has been reached? So 286 is what percent of 3120? So 286 is $9.2, right? Still rounding nearest tenth unless otherwise indicated. So 9.2%. Erase that. Brett has saved $768. The bank. He wants to save $3,120 for a trip to Alaska. What percentage has he reached? 768 is P% of 3120. $4.6. Right, and it doesn't tell me to round it differently. Your answer key is going to say 25%, but the instructions said to round to the nearest tenth of a percent unless indicated differently. And it didn't tell us to round to the nearest 12%. Okay. Thompson's Hardware, I started to do this one a second ago. Says what percent of the total sales were is their business insurance costs. All right. So that is 5.7. Significant, but that's not as bad as it looks, right? So, right. Keep going here. Joe's discount claims that 5,975 items are in inventory. 5,373 items closed, while the rest are non-closed. What percent of the total inventory is non-closed? So let's take the difference between 5,975 and 5,373. So there's going to be 602 non-closed items. And we're asked 602 is what percent of 59.75. So we're going to say 602 is P over 100 of 5,975 multiply 100 divided by base is equal to the percentage. This is 10.1%. On to number 26. Last week, Brian earned $165. Lucy earned $559. $165 is what percent of $559? 165 is P percent of 559. We're going to multiply by 100, divide by my base number to get my percentage. Type it into my calculator here. That's going to be 9.5. 27. $958 people voted for the incumbent candidate out of 1,772 voters. What percentage voted for the incumbent? So 958 is what percent of 1772? That's the question. So 958 is P over 100 of 1772. This is 95800 divided by 1772 equals P. P is 54.1. Again, we're rounding to the nearest percent. Right. Maria's company has 979 employees. Ruth's company has 702 employees. 979 is what percent of 702? 979 is P over 100 of 702. 97900 divided by the base 720 is P, which is approximately 7900 divided by 720. 136.0 feet. We're going to round to the nearest tenth there. So 136.0. Did I type something in wrong? 979. So what percent of? Oh, that's 702. It's my fault. That's 702, not 720. Okay. I inverted the numbers there. I'm sorry. That should be 139.5. Seven. 02 to 139.5. Okay. Next one. The weight of the child is 5 kilos. The weight for father is 96.2 kilos. Child, father. 96.2 kilograms is blank percent of 5 kilograms. 96.2 is P over 100 of 5. 9620 divided by 5. 1924. And that's an exact answer. We don't need to round it to the nearest tenth. That represents 1,924%. That's an exact answer. If you want to put 0 tenths on it, you can. No need to do that. Last question on page 2 says the population of Placerville grew from 4,740 a decade ago to 7,040 today. Find the absolute change and the percent change. So the absolute change is going to be 70, 40 minus 47, 40. It's going to be 0, 0. And then this is going to be 23. So 2,300. Just check that with my calculator. Now the percent change, or the relative change, is going to be equal to 2,300 divided by my original 4740 times 100%. It's going to be 48.5%. And again, nearest tenth of a percent is necessary. Still got quite a bit to go here. I'm try and get through this as fast as I can without going too fast. The value of Anna's house increased from 250,000 to 1.31 million. Okay, like that. So the amount of change is going to be equal to 106. So 1. One, 2, 1, 0, 0, 0, 0. So the difference is $1,060,000. It's a lot of change, right? A lot of upgrades to the house, probably. All right. So my percent change is going to be this change divided by the original amount times 100%. It's going to be 424%. Number 32. Total rainfall for Lake Town last year was 7.4 inches. This year, it was 0.8 of an inch. So the absolute change is going to be 0.8 minus 7.4, negative 6.6 inches for our absolute change. We want to divide that absolute change by our original amount. Find the relative change or the percent change. Find to the nearest tenth. Sorry, need to absolute change divided by original and multiply by 100 to get a percent. It's going to be a negative 89.2%. All right. 2 years ago, I earned $87,000. Last year, I earned $60,000. So 60,000 minus 87,000. Is my net change or my absolute change here, and then my percent change is going to be 27,000. Divided by 16,000. It's just going to be negative 27 divided by 60. It's going to be the same thing as this, because all the thousands will cancel out times 100%. All right. Check my numbers there. Oh, I divided by the wrong number here. It's always final minus initial, and I have to divide by initial. So hang on, this is 87. Apologies. So this is going to be negative 31%. The unemployment rate in Midtown a decade ago was 20%. Last year, it was 24%. So let's find the percent increase. We have 4 percentage points. And percent change is going to be 24 minus 20 over 20. 4 over 20 is going to be 1 over 5, which is going to be 20%. 1960, the town of Thornton, percentage of 50-year-old women that had never been married was 9.8%. Last year, the percentage of 50-year-old women that had never been married was 27.3%. So absolute change is going to be 17.5 percentage points. Between 7.3 minus 9.8 9.8. It's going to be 27.3. Minus 9.8. It's going to be, again, this is going to be changed to a percent. So it's going to be 178.6. Last year, the mayor of the town of Little Heath had an approval rating of 73%. This year's approval rating has fallen to 25%. So finally, absolute change is going to be 73 minus 25. Loss of 48 percentage points. Divide that by its original 73. We have a change here of negative 65.8%. Okay, in the last election, in a certain city, the percentage of eligible voters who voted in the local election was 62.5%. This year, the percentage fell to 52.8%. Express the difference here. So there's 62.5. 52.8, a decrease of 9.7 eligible voters. Percent change. So change. Percent change. It's going to be to take that negative 9.7. Divided by my original of 0.625. I get a relative change of negative 15.5. At a certain college, the percentage of male students decreased from 59% to 45%. This year, so it fell 14 percentage points. And it's going to be 14 divided by 59. Times 100%. It's going to be 23.7. All right, this is a lot of problems in this section. So I'm going to stop there halfway through, and I am going to come back and make a second video for the rest of this. But I'm going to stop at problem number 38, and I'll come back and I'll do 39 through 53 in the next video. All right, I might be doing that in some of these sections here that have a lot of problems to them, just to keep the videos at about an hour's length or less, so that we don't have too much for you to go back and watch at any one time. All right. See you in the next video. Bye.